Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here starting my own podcast and also starting my very first episode today. I have my wonderful mother with me today asking me questions about my life, about taking risk, and so many more because she's been here through everything. She's seen me laugh, cry, be happy, be sad. And she's seen me just grow as a person in general. So I think she's the best person to be asking me questions today on my first episode about taking risks. So here we go. I'm so excited. Yay! All right. Hello, Mom. And she's off camera right now, so she's in the background. She just a little bit. She doesn't like the spotlight, so I let her have it today.
So, my first question to you is what inspired you to explore the theme of taking risks on your podcast?
I think that's something that I take with me on my in my daily life. Like when I'm doing certain things, it's basically my motto because whenever I'm doing things, I'm always taking that risk and I'm always exploring ways to take even more risks in my life because I feel like I'm a multitasker. And whenever I think about that, I think of the ways that I can take those risks, and the risks that I've taken in my life so far have paid off, and some of them haven't, but that's okay because life is all about taking risks. And I think just by the certain things that I've done, I've either grown as a person, failed, and, failure is not always a bad thing because it leads to growth. So I'm always looking for ways to take those risks.
And you do stay busy. How do you define risk in the context of your podcast discussions?
I really define risks as not being afraid to do what your heart is telling you to do, despite being scared of obstacles that may come in your way. I think a really good example of that is, well, number one, I could give many examples, but I know one is walking in Miami Swim Week 2022. This was a time where I was very afraid to go, not only because of the financial aspect, and just going to a new city, but also because I didn't even know if I was going to book a show. I was going to Miami paying out of pocket for this trip, not even knowing if I had a show. And I think when I got there, I had an audition for one show, but that was just something that, I mean, obviously I wanted to do more shows when I was there. I wanted to do like the main shows, which is Miami Swim Week, the shows, the DC shows. And I was with my friend. So we went, and she obviously had a showdown. So I decided to go with her, but I still had to pay out of pocket for, the Airbnb and the plane ticket. So that was about, $2,000 that I spent altogether when I was there in Miami. And so I went there not even knowing, but on the last, I would say the second to last day when I was in Miami, I was feeling so just not optimistic at all. I was like, I'm not even gonna get a show. I was feeling very sad, down on myself. Yeah, I remember talking to you. I was like, Mom, I don't have a show. I'm scared. I don't. Luckily, I did have that one show that I booked from that audition that I attended in Miami. That was great. I was feeling grateful, but at the same time, the other auditions that I went to when I was in Miami, because usually Miami does have castings a week prior before the official shows that, they're just like last minute castings that you can attend. I went to those. I didn't get those shows. So when I was sitting in the lobby of SLS Hotel, the director, she stopped me. She said, "Would you like to do a show tonight?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes," because I was there for fitting for the show that I was going to walk. And I was like, "Yes, absolutely." So she took me backstage, and I remember seeing all these models. I was like, "Oh gosh, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm here. I'm in the official show." So designers started pulling me to try on their clothes, and
Wow.
I know, and I ended up walking for 3 shows for 13 designers. So I mean, it just all happened so fast, and I was feeling so grateful at this point. I was like, thank you, God, because I was on my last day. I was so scared. I was going to leave Miami so sad. But and that's just that's a prime example of taking risks, not being afraid to, you know, go for it, because that was my dream to walk in swim week, and I did it for the first time.
Right. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I was like, Mom, I didn't get a show. I'm scared.
yeah, and you called me again and said, "Mom, guess what?
I
I'm
booked.
working for you."
Yeah,
What?
yeah, I know it was incredible, but
Um, okay, so can you share an example of a memorable guest or story that encapsulates the essence of taking risks?
um, you can I bring up you? So my mother, she has three businesses. This lady does not stop working. I mean, I try to, I'm always out. I feel like I never stop. I don't rest. I don't sit at home. So I'm always trying to take her out places, and she's like, "No, I gotta work." But this lady has three businesses, and I aspire to be like her one day. And I definitely feel like I am following in her footsteps.
Yeah.
But you are the epitome of taking risks, because so in 2014, many of you have already heard that I was basically ridiculed for the way that I looked in my hair, the way that it looked. So at this time, I was very depressed when I was at school being bullied for it, and ultimately telling my principal that I'm being bullied. And in turn, she told me that I should cut or straighten my hair for the bullying to stop. But after this situation happened, my mom started a business from scratch. She started the Vanessa's Essence Natural Hair Care, and which is a business still standing today. This is a hair care line made for girls with textured hair, women with textured hair, to and really send a message about loving yourself, being confident in your own skin, being confident in your hair. And these products really give a unique perspective on how to love yourself, how to stand up for yourself. And this business is still running today. We're currently going through a process of rebranding, which I am so excited about. But not only that, she has a business called Slay Eclectic, which I am a model for. Amazing. It's just so cool. Modeling for my mom's brand and clothing line, it's so cool because I get to try on these clothes, and just, which is, modeling is one of my favorite things to do. So and so she has so many of these trendy clothes that I get to try on, and so that's super fun. But she started this business, when was it, last year?
Yes.
Yeah, last year. So she started this business last year. And then she also has another, what, remind me again? I forget what, she does so many things. I can't remember what this other business is called. What's the other business called?
Oh, well, I sell on Poshmark.
Oh, yes,
eBay.
that too. And she sells a lot. So be sure to check her out. What is it? Kent Collections?
Carson Collection.
Carson Collection. Yes. So yeah, that's a whole nother story. Yeah, so her Poshmark handle is Carson Collections. So be sure to check her out because she has amazing stuff on there. So, and she's selling every single day, packing up boxes every single day. She's sending me to the post office every single day. So, so yeah, no. Next question, please. But then she is the. I mean, I look up to this lady I keep saying this lady, my mom, every single day for what she does, and she is such an inspiration and a woman boss, as I'd like to say, superwoman. So, yeah.
Thank you, sweetheart. What do you think, as far as pageants are concerned, what was your biggest risk
Oh, wow.
when you began? What do you think your biggest risk was?
Wow. So, first of all, I didn't even think for 1 second that I would be involved in the Miss USA organization, Miss Universe organization. Not even for a second when I was younger. My mom was a pageant queen. She was top 5 in Miss Ohio USA back in her day. And and you know what though? I'm so grateful, number one, that she never pushed me to compete in pageants despite that she was a pageant queen. She never did that. It was the point where I reached where I was like, I'm going to do this. And that was when I was 18. I was like, I'm just going to do this, Mom. How do I get started? So that's how she really helped me. She just gave me some advice and supported me. But when I was watching Miss Universe 2015, the year when Steve Harvey messed up, everyone knows that year when he announced the wrong name. But when Pia Wurtzbach, Miss Universe 2015 from the Philippines, she won. And I looked at her and I was like, she embodies so much grace, so poise, and she was just the epitome of a true queen. I looked at her and I was like, I want to be up on the stage one day. I want to embody just this. But I was 14 years old at the time. I was still going through that depression of being ridiculed and being bullied online. And that's something that really took a toll on my mental health and my just self-esteem in general. So I put it in the back of my mind. I was like, I'm not going to do it. I don't even think I'm going to do it. This is just a dream that is not going to come into fruition. Fast forward to 2019 when I saw Chesley Christ, Miss USA 2019. She won with her natural hair, and Kaylee Garris, Miss Teen USA 2019, wearing her natural hair, and Zozabini Tunzi, Miss Universe 2019, won with her natural hair. I mean, and this was only a month, she won a month after I began my journey in the Miss USA organization. So I competed for the very first time in Miss Georgia Teen USA, and this was Miss Georgia Teen USA 2020, but it was still the year 2019. So I competed in November. And first of all, no clue what I was doing whatsoever. I got my dress from Goodwill. My dress was from Goodwill, and I was like, Mom, this is so pretty. Like, I am gonna win. Like,
Nice dress.
Okay, yes, but now looking back at it,
Yeah.
could have done better.
Yeah.
But it's the learning journey that matters, and learning from your experiences, taking risks. So I really went in there not having a clue what I was doing. However, I left the pageant I didn't place top 15 or anything, but that was an experience that I will never forget, because that led to so many opportunities that I have been faced with today in the pageant industry, and not only just in the pageant industry, but overall as a person, overall as an individual, growing as a woman, and really being authentic in everything that I do. Because some people have that stereotype that pageants make you very robotic. However, it actually helped me become more authentic, because while I'm in the room with judges, while I was doing my voices in front of the judges, my cartoon impressions, I learned that authenticity is the most important thing you can have in your life. And that was my biggest risk, just stepping into that organization, really looking back and realizing that, wow, I once said I was not good enough for this position right here. I was not good enough for competing in an organization that, really emphasizes beauty, not only just beauty, but how you speak and what you stand for, what platform you have. And my platform grew over the years. So fast forward, I competed the next year. I aged out of the teen division, and I was the youngest in the Miss division at this time for Miss Georgia USA 2021. I placed top 15, which was obviously so much better than what I did, and I was very proud of myself, but I was still beating myself up in a way, because I knew that my sash fell on stage. And Mom, you remember this. I cried to you after I got off stage, and I was like, my sash fell, and I didn't place top 5 because of this, because my sash fell. And I was like, there's my. So I was just going on and on, and I even had supporters backstage. One of them was Kirsten. I still remember her. We still talk, and she was the one uplifting me. She was the one saying, "Baby, you did amazing. God has other things in store for you. Who knows that it's this, but it's still other things. This happened for a reason. You probably weren't ready." But she was supporting me in the most positive way that I can think of. And so I just want to thank her for helping me through that situation and really encouraging me. But now I look back and I realize that I didn't place top 5, not because I wasn't enough, but just because I had more growing to do. I had more experiences that I had to go through in my life. So, of course, me being Vanessa, me not taking no for an answer, I went back to Georgia USA 2022. Mom, so this year I was feeling very optimistic about this year. I was like, listen, all I want to do is place top 5. I don't want to place top 15 again. I just want to place top 5. I will be so happy. I wanted my hard work to pay off on stage. I wanted it to show. And I remember praying in the car before finals competition. And I said, God, if I am at least close to my dream, Please show me. Give me a sign. Just do, as hard as it was saying that, just lead me on the path that you want me to be on. I was like, it doesn't have to be this, but please make it be this. So, I prayed, and so I asked him for a sign. So that year, 2022, Miss Georgia USA, I placed first runner-up to the title. On the floor. Like, I was on cloud nine after this. You remember, I was smiling. I was like,
Yeah.
because usually sometimes when you place first runner up, people are so sad because you're this close. You're this close and it doesn't happen. But I was so happy that I just placed top 5. And after I got called first into top 5, I was spaced out for the rest of the night. I was just so happy. I remember the lady asked me the top 5 question. I was like, I'm amazing. How are you? And so from that point on, I was just there. I was just answering the question, having fun. I didn't expect to place first runner up, even though I knew that I grew so much. That was an amazing thing. Wearing my natural hair, being authentic in an interview, in all aspects of the competition. I was just so excited. Guess what happened the next year? I went back. I went back again. I went back to Georgia USA again, 2023. Placed first runner up. And still on cloud 9 after that. I was like, I don't care. I'm still happy. I still wanted to win. Obviously, who doesn't want to win? But I was just so happy that I was authentic. That's one of the things that I always push. I always push for authenticity. And I'm going back again to compete for Georgia USA in June next month. Yeah, so that's super exciting and I look forward to it. I just and just being in the Miss USA organization changed my life, and that is a risk that I am so happy that I've been able to grow, and it didn't necessarily go wrong. So here I am today being faced with, opportunities. I've been a pageant judge for about 3 years now, and I've just been making appearances, and I've been honored to make these appearances. So that's something that I'm really proud of.
Well, I'm proud of you too.
Thank you, Mom. She's seen it all. She's seen the tears. She's seen the everything.
Everything.
She's seen the money go from pageants.
Yes.
Oh my God, but it's been worth it though.
So, what
is it still recording? I'm traumatized.
Okay, at what point in that first year that you was in Miss Georgia USA team?
Georgia Teen USA.
Georgia Teen USA. What was that point when you said, you know what, this is what I like to do? What was that moment?
When I got the adrenaline rush. No, but in all seriousness, I really realized the point that I love doing this and I needed to continue doing this was when I was inspiring little girls. I've gotten, just wearing my natural hair on stage, I've gotten messages from little girls, even teens, saying how inspired they were by me for staying true to myself and not conforming to what the pageant industry has pushed upon contestants for so long. Of course, it's better now. There's more authenticity in pageantry, and that was that point where I realized I was inspiring people. Also, I realized I really love interview.
Wow.
I know, coming from a shy girl of 12 years old, going through depression, being just tucked away, not really understanding who I was, all the way to being on stage, being able to answer questions in the interview room in 2 minutes. I realized I love talking. And that's honestly, being in pageantry really made me realize how much I love public speaking too. That was another opportunity that came from being in pageantry. Even though I did public speaking at the charity event that I still host to this day, Bring Out the Dolls, I've just loved it. I love speaking to young girls. I've loved mentoring young girls. That is also an organization that I'm in now, Girls Can Mentoring, and that came from pageantry. So just doing that was like an aha moment. that I needed to continue doing this. That I wasn't just gonna let my message be behind closed doors, not let, I needed to have my voice inspire others and use my voice for the voiceless.
Um, let's see. So,
Is it still
do you
recording?
do you think that going to Spelman, was a big part of your confidence?
Ooh,
Helping you
yeah.
with your confidence going on stage through the years in the pageants?
Yes. So I can really give a good example of that. Um, well, two examples actually. I actually competed for Miss Spelman College. I keep forgetting. I just do so many things. I just don't remember. But I competed for Miss Spelman College. And, even though I didn't even make court, this was an eye-opening experience for me because I learned how to, first of all, the interview was 15 minutes full of political questions. And I got best in interview. Um, and
That's
so,
incredible.
yeah, and I just realized how much I love speaking about my platform, not only my platform, but different social issues that are currently happening in the world today, and me wanting to make a difference for these issues and just use my voice. So, um, being in Miss Spelman helped me actually in this pageant industry. Also, I went to Capitol Hill during my matriculation at Spelman College. I went to Capitol Hill speaking in front of Congress about the Crown Act and wanting it to pass in the Senate while using my own story of being ridiculed and
That's
of
an amazing thing that you did.
it was some I've had so many opportunities at Spelman that I didn't realize it would take me so far. And this also helped me with my public speaking skills. I spoke in front of Congress. That's intimidating. That is so intimidating. And gosh, what an amazing experience! Not only being able to make a difference in my community, while using my story, but also understanding how far these different paths have taken me in pageantry. Because when you think about pageantry, you can't just really think about, oh, what does being in pageants, how will that help me in pageantry? No, it helps you in so many aspects of your life: public speaking, confidence, building your own business, building your brand, helping others. That's what it's all about. Like, I can answer questions about makeup and taking risks. I can actually come. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So tell me about.
So basically, what happened? No. So I actually, having to do with makeup. This is a fun question, I guess.
Yes, it's a fun question.
In pageants, I took a risk by doing my own makeup. In every show. I've never hired a makeup artist, which I probably will at some point, especially for the like national competitions. But I've really been adapted to doing my own makeup, especially like full glam makeup. And I got really comfortable with doing it and learning stage makeup. So and I actually really have a passion for doing makeup, but that is one risk that I have taken by doing my own makeup in pageants and just letting it be, not hiring a makeup artist 'cause the money was tight. So,
Okay. Well. Okay. Speaking of risks, um, what do you think a or how should a queen or contestant respond to ruthless criticism
mm,
um, when they're up there taking risks in the pageants?
you know what immediately comes to mind is that you cannot please everyone. You're going to have haters regardless of what you do, regardless of what you say. You can be the most perfect person. Of course, no one's perfect, but hypothetically, you can be as perfect as you can be, but you can never win at in other people's eyes. There's always going to be someone who has something negative to say. You just have to keep doing yourself. I remember Brooke Lee. She was Miss Universe, well, Miss USA and Miss Universe. I remember one question that she said, or that she answered. She was asked, I forget what the question was, but she said if I get taller, if I get shorter, if my nose gets bigger or smaller, I'll still be that person that had the crown placed on my head that day.
Mm.
So, and that was such an inspiring answer to me because in this was a question where it had to do with responding to criticism and responding to people saying, well, what if you gain weight? Like that was the type of question that it was. So that was a time where I realized that you're always going to have haters and critics, but you have to learn that you have to be true to yourself at all times, and that's what really matters, especially in pageantry. I mean, of course, there are going to be haters believing that you weren't the true winner, or they just have everything to say. Even with our Miss Universe 2021, she was criticized for her weight gain when she had celiac disease. But you're not going to make everyone happy. You just have to go after what you want, and who you truly believe that you are. You have to show that to the world, regardless, because just being fake is not it's not going to get you anywhere. For a little bit maybe, but you have to be your authentic self.
I agree. Um, so I know that you are really into mentoring um, young girls and young women. So, what would you say to them about taking risks um, and having challenges that they might, feel like, well, they can't do it, or um, they'll get talked about because they want to, I don't know, go to a certain college. How would you respond to someone who's doubting themselves about taking that risk to do what they want to do in their life and achieve their dreams?
Well, this question really spoke to me because I was like that at one point. I was questioning myself. I was questioning my worth. I was questioning how everyone thought about me, what everyone thought about me. And I really had to I think that moment in time where I stopped really caring about what everyone said was when I was doing what I loved. And when I'm doing what I love, it doesn't matter what they have to say about me. I am finding happiness within from accomplishing the goals that I knew I was set on this earth to do. So these little girls who are still developing their identity, for example, they're still trying to figure out who they are in their life, and they're still figuring out ways, and there's not going to be a time where they don't second guess, who they are, but they really have to understand that they being authentic will get you so far in life. Um, and finding their own balance, their own unique characteristics, bringing them out, and finding ways to inspire others by those characteristics. That was one way I did it with myself. I understood that my negative, my hair, in a lot of people's eyes, was a positive in a lot of other girls' lives. So I realized that by taking that risk, even though it came with a storm, the rainbow came out of it. And by doing the things that I'm doing today. So I would always say to young girls wanting to take risks, understand that their story can help others find light at the end of the tunnel.
That's right. So, when you think of a risk taker, I mean, someone who a battery. When you think of someone who has taken a risk and has been successful, failed,
Mm-hmm.
but then got back up, who do you think of? Who's your inspiration?
Deshauna Barber, hands down. She Miss USA 2016 from District of Columbia. She inspired me in so many ways, but she also portrayed taking risks. She also that was her thing because she competed for Miss District of Columbia USA 6 times, I believe. And then yeah, and then she won Miss USA. And a lot of it's like she's even a public speaker now. She's a motivational speaker, and she really uses that story as a motivator for others to keep going And that's exactly what I do now too. You know, as going for Miss Georgia USA, who knows? I don't know if I'm going to win this year, hopefully, but I don't know that. I just know that I kept going at what I knew I had to do in my life. I knew that I had this. I just wanted to be in pageants. I wanted to be in the Miss Georgia USA. I wanted to compete for the title because it was so much fun, so empowering, so uplifting on so many aspects, on so many levels. But Deshauna Barber is such an inspiration to me because she's an empowered woman, but she did not let those no's define her. She didn't let those no's stop her. You know, if there's a YouTube video about it. You know, this crazy lady at Target came up to her and was like, "Hey, you know, what country are you from?" And she was asking her all of these questions, and she's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, who do you think you are? Like, why are you asking me if I'm from the United States?" Like, she was offended by that. You know, who is this lady? I am not competing for I don't know. So, but fast forward, you know, she ended up competing, but. And one of the things that I remember about this speech was she was like, "I went back the third time and I failed. I went back the fourth time. I lost. I went back the fifth time. Lost. Guess what happened the sixth time? I lost." And it was just it was funny, but it made you realize how much you have to try sometimes to achieve your dreams. And in a lot of those times, that dream that you have that you keep going after will pay off. So Deshauna Barber is such a huge inspiration to me in the pageant world. So I look up to her as a U.S. Army commander while doing Miss USA at the same time. That's so amazing. So she is such an empowering human being.
Yeah. Okay, last question.
Yes.
Can you share a time when you had to take a risk and how it paid off?
Wow. So the time that this is actually, I can remember this clear as day. So I took a senior thesis class during my last year at Spelman. So this is needed for all graduating seniors to have a whole class dedicated to a research topic you will present in front of influential people in like government and for potential jobs as well. So you dedicate this whole semester to researching a topic that really speaks to you and really would have an impact on your community and especially the world. So I remember the first day of this class, she was saying, the teacher or the professor, she was like, "Okay, the research topic you will have to present will be on November 17th. That was the same day as Miss Georgia USA interview. And I was competing for Miss Georgia USA 2023 this around this time. So this was the beginning of the semester. So I pulled her aside after class and I said, "Is there any way that I can perhaps present this topic on a different day? Because I have a really important day. It's kind of a big deal to me. It's called Miss Georgia USA and I'm competing. And of course it doesn't sound important to, sometimes it's like, okay, you're competing in a pageant. Okay. But you know what I mean? Like, but it's also one of the biggest days of my life. So she said, no, it will have to be the same day. And oh my gosh, I was heartbroken. I left class, cried in my car in the parking garage after I left. So the next day, brought it up to her again. And I said, hey, so I really need to attend this competition. I am not backing out. This is my dream. And she said, okay, you can present the topic. Luckily, the topic on that day, it was on Zoom. So luckily, I didn't have to be, here in Atlanta presenting the topic. And then McDonough, Georgia, which is 45 minutes away, So luckily, it was on Zoom. So she let me be like the first or second person. I can't remember which one I was. But she let me leave right after I presented. First of all, the topic was fire. The presentation was fire. Then, after I left the Zoom meeting, I immediately took my professional clothes off and put my interview outfit on because I had to go right downstairs. So this is so much pressure as someone who just got finished presenting a senior thesis about politics. I mean, this actually was helping me prepare for interview, to be honest with you. But that was a huge risk that I had to take, and not knowing if I was even going to be making interview on time, that was scary for me. But I got it done, and I still placed first runner-up this year, so I'm just so grateful for that. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for attending this podcast. We had some technical difficulties early on because my phone kept running out of storage. This podcast has been going on for about 3 hours straight. I kept having to stop and like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to splice this video together. So excuse if it looks all over the place, but that just comes with taking risks and trusting your iPhone for a podcast. But I had so much fun, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this video about taking risks, and there will be more topics to come. And you guys will just have to stay tuned to find out what they are. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.